do you love to read? Because I love to read. Well, duh. I mean, if you like to read, you clicked on how to read free books, like obviously. But I feel like there's two divides right now, right? There's like the people who like to read and the people who like talking about how they like to read, but really they like to collecting books, okay? There is an overlap. You could like collecting books and like to read, but and it's not to say that either one is better than the other. I just mean that they're two different hobbies, let's say, right? And again, nothing worse or better or whatever. I just happen to not really collect books, but read a ton of books, which means it's not super important to me to be buying the books, which is why I usually read for free. I would love to own a library at one point. I would love to, buy all the books that I read so that I could like look at them and be like, you were amazing and reread them, or, give the ones I hated to the people I don't like. But the point is that's not kind of my current hobby. And my current hobby is just reading a ton of freaking books and going through them at an alarmingly fast pace. Like, what have I been up to recently that I managed to read already? Like 7 books in the month of May. Yeah, if you think that's not a lot, then you have been brainwashed by BookTube. That is a ton of books. This is a really long intro. How to read books for free. Let's go. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, check out my video on Libby. She's amazing, okay? Brief overview is it's a way to borrow books from the library and directly download them onto your ebook. So I mean, I've never been like this, but I know a couple people feel a little bit like of an ick towards a library, just in the sense that like, oh, you're holding books that like countless other people held. I don't understand it at all. When you go to a bookstore, you know how many people held those books? I mean, obviously less than a library, but yeah, like you're not necessarily getting a book in pristine condition. I don't have a problem with libraries, but if you do, and this was one of your problems, right? Like that you don't like holding books, then ebooks from the library are your best friend because you download it onto your Kindle that nobody's ever held before, except the manufacturers and the people who shipped it to you or whatever, and then you just download it. So this video that I made explains exactly how to download a book from Libby onto your Kindle. And it's like super easy. And you just have to be next to a library, or you have to be like affiliated with a library. You don't actually have to be physically close to a library. And I also show you how to do that in the video. So really great resource. And you should really go check it out if that is something that you're interested in. Another way that I don't see a lot of people talking about, but I've actually read very interesting books off of, is Prime on Amazon. Yes, if you have Amazon Prime, which so many of us do. So this is only if you do, but like if you don't, you could just skip. But yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, they actually have like free books every month that you could choose from. I don't know if you have like an unlimited of choice. You might only be able to have like one book a month from it. I've literally never tried to take out more than one book a month. Let me just like do a quick Google. So according to what I read, you can actually get 10 books. 10 books. That's crazy. And like, there's just like so many options. And the cool thing about it is a lot of them you might not have heard of, and they'll be able to start you on series. So that's like kind of cool. Another thing that's cool about it is that there's some books that you might not have even heard of. So like they'll start you with one series, and then obviously you'll have to buy like the second and the third and the fourth, but you kind of could just get into a series that you just might not have found otherwise. So Prime Reading, I've used this one a couple times, and it's fun, when my library card expired at one point, and just sometimes I just go through Prime Reading, you just download it, and every month they like rotate the books that are available. Does that make sense? So check that out if you like free ebooks and you have Amazon Prime. Next way. This way is a little controversial, but if you just love to read, how do I say this? You're a little bit obsessed, not with reading, just with certain things in general, then fan fiction. Yes, fan fiction is for you. I have read awesome books. I've read awesome books with fan fiction. Like, I've used fanfiction.net. Harry Potter fanfiction was my one true love all throughout high school. It is not currently live anymore. It's actually very sad because I wrote books on Harry Potter fanfiction.com, and I will never have access to those again because I don't know where they were. But one was about an orphan girl named Zora who got admitted to Hogwarts. She was Muggle-born. very similar vibes to Harry, which I'm only realizing right now. Like kind of just, abused and bullied, and then she becomes a witch. So that was fun. And then another one where this, I don't remember her name, but she was friends with the vampire, and the vampire was in Hogwarts. The vampire's name was Six. I remember that. I gave him a number as a name. Anyways, fan fiction is actually really fun. People are good at it. And if you want to like skip through all like the really, really awful fan fiction, because just like you could find good things, you could find such mind numbingly bad things that will literally fry your brain cells. Yeah, then you just ask for recommendations on like Reddit or online. Be like, best Harry Potter fan fiction, best, I don't know, Marvel fan fiction. I'm like trying to think of things that I'm into or like nerdy things. I mean, let's go with like a classic. There's Lord of the Rings fan fiction. I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings. Sorry. Please come for me because I would love to figure out what you like about it, because I believe everybody's lying who likes it. But yeah, there's lots of fan fiction. And AO3. AO3 is another way to read fan fiction. Great, fantastic way to like just go through. I mean, there's awful fan fiction. Like I said, I actually did a video on just reading awful fan fiction for my Bookaka series like a couple months ago. But fan fiction is fun, People are talented out there, and just because like there's all these barriers to entry of like, traditional publishing, we have to like jump through a bunch of hoops and get an agent and like, have a huge following, or like indie publishing, which I did, which is actually so time consuming and monetarily consuming and just very difficult to do, like write a book, whatever. This, you could just like upload things. And you know what? You don't have to suck just because you didn't have all those barriers. Do you know what I mean? Like it might be a little more rough around their edges, but they're still really good. Another good way is Wattpad. I was like ish into this for a while. I know some people are obsessed with it, but it's just a very convenient way to read for free. So yeah, if you're willing to not be a snob about your reading, check that out. On to another way, something called BookBub. I actually signed up for this like years ago, and I just get emails that I kind of ignore every Monday. But technically, it is actually a way to read cheap ebooks or free ebooks. They basically give you like an offering of like a bunch of ebooks that are like on sale, and some of them are also free, and they just like send you a link to where it's for free and how you can read it for free. I mean, I get these every week. Like sometimes I look through them, but I've just never needed to ever use it because I mostly use Libby. That's really the truth, is that Libby is the way I read almost everything. So, but I will say BookBub, it like works. It's just, I mean, I've clicked through before to like just see how accurate it is. Sometimes they like show you Prime offering. So like that's just Amazon Prime. If you're on Amazon Prime, then BookBub's not really going to do anything new for you. But like occasionally there's like other ways to read for free, I'm pretty sure. And also just discounts, like heavy discounts on books that you might not have heard about otherwise. And then there's something called NetGalley. You might have heard of this, you might not have, but it's basically a way to be a beta reader, free. So you read people's like new books, and then you get to be the first set of eyes on it. You get to possibly provide feedback or just send a review. I actually signed up for this, and I technically could do it, but like I said, I'm just like, Libby just works so well. Like really, that's why I put Libby first, because I just read so many books through Libby that it's like not even, I think this past year, let's actually check this out. I'll check this out. So this year I read 30 books so far, okay, in 2025. 26 of them were with Libby. Yeah, 26 of them were with Libby. That's kind of crazy. 2 of them were free books that I was in an Airbnb and they just kind of had leftover books hanging around. The best when that happens, okay? I should add another thing that is like, if you're traveling in Airbnb, sometimes they give you free books, but you can't always rely on it. So I'm not actually going to put it as a thing. But 2 of them were from Airbnbs, and 2 of them I bought. Yes, out of all these books. That's kind of crazy, no? Wow. But NetGalley, back to, because that's what I was talking about. I was talking about NetGalley. Yeah, you can read free books. It's free. I mean, every one of these methods are free. Otherwise, why would it be in my video on how to read for free? And yeah, if your hobby is reading, or you feel like, you like collecting books, but they're just kind of crazy expensive, and You don't really want to spend all your money on books because you need to eat. So you have energy to read. Then, you could buy a smaller amount of books to supplement your reading hobby, right? And then you can also get these free ebooks. Like it works. Like you don't have to exclusively read for free, but just like, and then you discover interesting things, because really when you're buying books in like Barnes and Nobles, you know what you're reading, what everyone else is reading. So again, if that's fun, there is something kind of fun about it, just like kind of reading the same things everyone's reading so that you could talk about it with everybody else. But then it also gets kind of boring. Like when the same people are always posting about the same 4 books, like I don't need to hear about Akotar or Powerless again. Oh gosh, my video on Powerless. I should really do that because, sorry, just read Hunger Games. Anyways, that's the video for today. Just kind of quick and all the ways that I read for free or that you can read for free. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down and let me know why. Because if you don't tell me, I will never improve. And then, I'll keep getting thumbs downs and that will be kind of sad. Please subscribe if you like books and you like to read. If you only like collecting books, I don't know if this is going to be the place for you, but you can still hang around if you want. Thanks so much for watching. The end.